Hi, I'm Laura Cooley, and I'm here today to walk you through your all-region Etude number 1. Now, before we really get started with the Etude, I want us to take a few minutes to work on reviewing how to count with a metronome. Okay, so I'm going to get out my handy-dandy metronome. Here it is. Ta-da! And I'm going to turn it on to quarter note equals 80. Now, you might have a metronome in your phone and you might be watching this on your phone. That's okay. Okay, you probably could maybe even try to play it on your phone while you're watching this. All right, so first we're just going to go over our basic counts, okay? So this is quarter note equals 80, okay, and that's because that's what this etude is marked at, okay? Quarter note equals a little faster than 1 beat per minute, 80. Okay, so first let's just do our quarter notes. You see those up there at the very top. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we're going to do our eighth notes. Ready, go. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te. All right, now let's try our dotted quarter eighth. Now I want you to notice that a dotted quarter note is 2 taps of the foot or 2 taps on your metronome. Okay, and the reason for that is because it's a beat and a half. You cannot have 1 1/2 of anything unless you have 2 of that thing, right? If you're gonna eat 1 1/2 apples, you're gonna go take 2 apples out of the fridge and cut the second one in half, okay? So we have to make sure we're counting to 2 when we say that. And you can see that that's illustrated there as well with the tie to the dotted from the quarter note to the 2 eighth notes. All right, now here we go. We're going to count that a couple of times. Here we go. 1, 2, te, 1, 2, te, 1, 2, te, 1, 2, te, 1. Now notice that I'm saying the 2, okay, and that helps me keep that accurate count. All right, last one is going to be the triplet, okay? And the way you say the triplet is 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly. Okay, here we go. Here we go. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly. All right, there you go. Now we're going to move on to our next slide. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and count through the entire etude with our metronomes. Now, your pickup note, your very first note there is beat 4, okay? So make sure you say 4 for that. All right, here comes the metronome. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to count through it together. 1, 2, 3. 4, 1, 2, te, 3, 4, 1, te, 2, te, 3. 1, 2, te, 3, 4, 1 te, 2 te, 3. 4 lolly, 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2 lolly, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, off. 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2 te, 3, 2, 1, 2 te, 3, 4. 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1 lolly, 2, 3 lolly, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 te, 3, 4, 1 te, 2 te, 3, rest. 1, 2 te, 3, 4, 1 te, 2 te, 3, rest. 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2 te, 3 te, 4 te, 1, 2, 3, 4 te, 1, 2 lolly, 3. Okay, so once you've counted through the whole thing a few times and maybe done some counting through it on cuts that maybe you're not as clear with, or you just need to work on that particular part a little bit more, just counting, okay, then you're going to kind of look for stuff that looks a little unfamiliar to you, or that maybe you're not as good at, okay, or that you're just kind of still in the process of learning. So what we're going to, with this one, okay, I find that I see an F natural in measure 9. And so you can see on the slide, I highlighted that part, okay, and that's measure 9. And that part's going to be a little bit challenging. So I'm going to, first of all, remind myself of my high F fingering and my high E natural fingering, okay? And that is going to be something that I can either look at on my fingering charts, or I can go online and I can find my handy dandy finger charts app. Okay, now I'm going to show you this app for a minute here. This is called Finger Charts, and I really recommend that you download this into your smartphone if you don't have it already. Okay, and the reason for that is because we don't always have a piece of paper with us. We don't always have our band folder with us, or maybe we just left our book at school and we really need to practice, but we didn't, we don't have the fingering. So I'm going to recommend that you do this. Now, the nice thing about this app, okay, and hopefully there's not too much of a glare there, is that you can pick any note you want. So like you basically slide through right in this little bar here, and you can work with any note, okay? I think there's two versions now. When I downloaded this, there was only one version. You can see at the top all those little dots there, those are alternate fingerings. Okay, and you can slide through those to change your fingerings. I think that with the basic version now, it doesn't have the alternate fingerings, but that's not that big of a deal. You definitely don't need like 17 alternate fingerings for F, which is like how many this is. So we're just going to use the regular fingering. So here's your fingering for F, okay? And you might have learned, I learned this as the regular F, right? But just with the middle finger up in your left hand, okay? So, and then we're going to go and we're going to remind ourselves of the fingering for high E natural, high E natural. Okay, and there it is. Thumb 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, and that's the way I remember that one. But you can also remember, lovely little ad popping up on my phone there. You can also remember it as the E natural, regular E natural with this finger up. Okay, so those are your two fingerings. You're going to remember those. Now, if you ever want to use finger charts for trilling, okay, you can also use it for that. There's a little trill button here. See that little guy, TR? Okay, trill. I want to learn how to trill from E to F sharp, okay? So I go to that, and then at the top, you see the little, this is not the best example, but you see the little guy there that's green? That's what you're supposed to trill. Okay, so this is a really useful app, very easy to use, very user-friendly, nice big display. And you can also do a little sound, I think. Okay, yes, you can do it, but it's not letting me right now, so that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to practice that little part. All right, so you can see here that I have put two examples for you, number 1 and 2. The first one is practicing going back and forth from F to E natural. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to do each one just 2 times, okay? But you should do it more than 2 times. It really is important that you teach your fingers how to do it, and that comes with repetition, okay? 1, 2, F to E, go. Okay, and then going on to the next set there, and now we're going to do quarter notes, F to E natural. Okay, now we're going to do eighth notes. Now you can slow it down too if you want when you're practicing this on your own. Actually, right now I'm going to slow my metronome down to 60 since now we're going a little bit faster with the eighth notes. Now we're doing eighth notes. Now, it may not sound that smooth when you're doing it. And if it doesn't sound smooth, a really good thing to do is look at your fingers and see which finger is not moving at the right speed. Because if your fingers aren't smooth, it means that one of them is moving faster than the other. So they're just not quite moving together. Now, let's take a look at number 2. Now, this is going to be practicing going F, E natural, D, C. All right, and first we'll do the half notes. We'll do each one twice in this video. You should do it way more than that on your own. Now the quarter notes, 2, ready, and. Now try the eighth notes. Again, I'm going to slow my met down to 60 here. You can slow it down even more than that if you want, or don't slow it down at all as long as you're doing it pretty well. Ooh, I did that one 3 times. Whoops. That's okay. All right. So keep working on doing those, okay? And just get really good at it. Make sure there's no blipping. You can also practice them tonguing. I was doing them slurring, or you can do it with the articulation that's actually in the music. All right, moving on. So you might be asking at this point, but Mrs. Cooley, where do I take a breath? Okay, well, the most important thing is not necessarily where you take a breath, okay, but where you don't breathe. All right. So where we want to put our breath marks in places that makes musical sense. And we want to not breathe anywhere else other than where we've put our breath marks. Okay. That is really important because it's just like talking. Imagine if I was talking to you and I took a breath in the middle of your name. Okay. My name is Mrs. Cool E. That just sounds weird. Okay. So if you're taking breaths in inappropriate places in music, that's kind of what it sounds like. Okay, we need to finish the musical word or even the musical sentence. Okay, so I put some breath marks in that you can see there. The first one is just on a quarter rest. That's the most appropriate place to breathe is on a rest, of course. All right, and then we're going to go through. You can see I put another one in measure 4 in between beats 3 and 4. Okay. I put another one on measure 6 after the dotted quarter. Now, to breathe in between when you don't have a rest, you just have to cut the note before the breath a little bit shorter so that you have enough time to take a breath, okay? But you take your biggest breaths on the rests, all right? So make sure that you're practicing not just the music, but make sure you're practicing your breathing and practicing only breathing where these breaths are marked. That is just as important as learning all your notes and all of your rhythms. Okay, so at this point, you've played through your etude numerous times. And maybe you are just working on one cut at a time, or whatever it is, how you're practicing, that's fine. Okay, but we need to talk about where we're going to put expression in. Okay, and I would like you to write these dynamics that I have here into your music so that you can add a little bit more expression. Now, first of all, what key are we in? That's the first thing that should kind of tell you what your expression is going to be like. Okay, we're going to be in a minor key here. We're actually in D minor, okay? And a minor key can create sort of more of a somber mood, okay? Because it's minor, so it's a little bit darker. Okay, the second thing, and I didn't write this in here, but the second thing that kind of helps your dynamic is your overall tempo, or not your dynamic, your style, is your overall tempo, okay? And our tempo here is fairly slow. It's kind of moderate tempo, around 80. So, it's going to just kind of be sort of straightforward feel. It's kind of a nice little walking tempo, okay? Now, where are we going to add dynamics? All right, well, this is hard. This one was actually tough for me to find some places. I had to kind of make them sort of sound kind of cool and change them up a little bit. So anyway, but what I did first is that I put a little bit of a decrescendo, okay, in measure 11 and 12, okay? And then I crescendoed through measure 15, and on that half note on measure 15, or the dotted half note, I'm nice and loud, okay? But then to start the next phrase, I come back down to piano. And the reason I did that is because we've already played that phrase. We played it at the beginning. So if we're going to play it again, let's play it at a different dynamic level, change it up a little bit. Okay, and measure 19, I'm just kind of showing you that you can get a little bit louder there. Okay, and measure 21, there's a nice big crescendo to end out the piece at a forte. Okay, so work on playing with those dynamics. Okay, and then what about vibrato? You might be asking. The answer is yes. Yes, vibrato. Do vibrato. You need to have a medium fast vibrato in this piece, okay? And basically, you should be trying to play with vibrato on almost every single note, but at least anything longer than an eighth note, okay? You also should add more vibrato in when you have extra expression going on in your music, okay? And that kind of changes, but dynamics is a good place to add in more vibrato. When you're doing a crescendo, you can add more vibrato, okay? And as it says right there, when you're loud, you can do more vibrato and a faster vibrato, okay? When you're soft, you can do less vibrato, okay? So try to, follow those general guidelines for vibrato, but it's not totally cut and dry with vibratos. A lot of it is just up to you, the musician, and your creativity. So now is going to be the most important part, which is practice. Practice. Okay, you gotta practice. It has to be practiced a lot. Okay, this particular etude, if you're, this particular etude, you may not need to practice as much as the other one, okay? But you still need to practice it a lot if you're gonna get really good at it. So I'm gonna play it now for you so you can listen to this over and over again. Over and over again, I know you will. Okay, at quarter note equals 80, I'm gonna play it right at tempo. I'm gonna do all my dynamics that I marked in. All right, I'm gonna do my vibrato. I'm gonna take the breath marks. All right, here I go. Here's my metronome. 1, 2. All right. And the last and final slide says, keep up the good work and good job. Okay, keep practicing. Do your best. Bye.